Building on my previous demo, I'm going to show you how you can use the Power Query Editor in Power BI to transform data. So this is my previous output file, Power BI file. I open it with Power BI. And what you see here is the data that is loaded as tables. What you see here is the model view of those tables. Here is the table view, so you can view the data in each table, correct? And here is the report view. By default it opens with the report view because I saved this as at the report view stage. Now if you want to transform data, let's say you've not even generated reports, but you want to transform data that you loaded, this customers, orders and products. The Power Query Editor, you don't see Power Query Editor anywhere here at the top, but you go to Queries from Home. Okay, I go back to Home, I go to Queries, I select Transform Data, and Transform Data here. You can see the prompt here on the left. Use the Power Query Editor to connect, prepare and transform data. So that's where the Power Query Editor is. You won't see any item called Power Query Editor here, but it actually exists here. Transform data, use the Power Query Editor. So we're going to use this. So this data is already loaded. So what I saw here as tables on the left side, I now see as queries here. Now I can transform data if I want to. For example, let's say I want to split this name column to two different columns. I right click on this, okay, then I use the split column feature here at the top, and I split column by a delimiter. So what is the delimiter here? A space. There is a space between the first name and the last name. So I say, if I say each occurrence, if there are three, the name consists of three parts, it will be split into three occurrences. But in this case I just want to split it into two parts. The leftmost, the first occurrence of the space character. Okay. Do I want to add a quotation character? No, I don't want to add a quotation character. So I click OK. And what I get is two new columns, name and able. Then I can double click here and change this to first name. Double click here and change this to last name. So this way I split one column into two different columns. If I want to combine them again, I select the first column, hold the control key, select the second column. Now I have two columns selected. Then I right click anywhere and I can see that there's an option to merge columns here. So if I merge columns, do I want to put a separator? Yes, I want to put maybe this case I want to put a comma just to make it look different, and I'm going to give it a new column name, full name with comma. So now those two columns that were existing there got replaced by one new column called full name with comma. Okay, I can split this again if I want. Right click here, I can split from here, or I can split from here. I can use the split column here. Either way, so by delimiter from here, or right click, split column by delimiter. In this case my delimiter is a comma. I say the first occurrence of the comma. I don't want a quotation character. I split it. Now there are two columns with this same name. So I'm just going to rename this to, double click and say first name, and the second column I'm going to change back to last name. So there is one transformation you can do. Now for example, if I'm going to go to orders, now here customer ID is a number, so that is fine. Order date, it says the order date seems to be dates, but Power BI recognizes them as characters. So can I convert this to dates? You can see this ABC, right? ABC means it's a character data type. If I click on the ABC, I can try to convert to date or date time. Let me see if it works to date. Okay, so it's going to say okay, we are doing a column type conversion, and it gets an error because it couldn't properly be converted to date. So I can click on this crossbar and undo that action. So the order date got reverted properly. What I could do later is maybe I could split this, remove the 0, 0, 0. For example, here let's say I split it, or I could change whatever is 0 colon 0 0. Let me change that. So I can do here. I can see all the different values when I click on this drop down arrow. I right click in the column and I say replace values. So I want to replace space colon 0 colon 0 0 with nothing. So now it is still characters, but now it looks properly like date. Can I change this to dates? I click on this ABC, change it to date. Yes, but there are, so apparently this data is not really clean, because further down there are some rows where there seem to be some extra character and it gives me an error. So that means this data was not clean enough for me to convert to dates. So I will revert that again. So that's one sort of conversion you can do. Then you can see here the revenue field. It says revenue seems to be character type. ABC means character data type. So I change that. I can change it from here. Change the column attributes. Okay. Or if I want to change the column attributes from a different location, for example, I'm not going to do it from there. I'm just going to click here and change this to fixed decimal number. So this is dollar values, so I want to present dollars here. So I just change this to fixed decimal number and I get dollar values with 2 decimal places, and you can see it is dollar number here. If I undo this change, I go back to revenue and I undo this change, it becomes a character string again. These are characters: 356.898, 356.898, 63.9. These are all characters. I can change it back to fixed decimal number. Then this quantity, we know quantity is actually a whole number, integer, but Power BI thinks it is characters. So I can click on this and say these are whole numbers, and now it changes to 1, 2, 3, meaning it's showing these as integers, as whole numbers. So this is another transformation you can do. If I wanted to remove columns, I could remove columns. In this case, let me see if I can remove anything from customers. Okay, let's say I want to remove the postal code column. I can right click here and remove from here, or I can go to choose columns, select choose columns, and then first I choose the columns to keep. So I want all the columns except for postal code. I take this out, and now the postal code is gone. If I want to revert that last action, I just click on this and the postal code is returned. So that is one way I could do. I could choose columns and say I want postal code excluded, like this. Or another way I could try is from here. I could say remove, because I've selected the column, I can say remove the column and the postal code is gone. Then in orders I could do another thing. Revenue is actually, I want to multiply this. So I go to the revenue, then I go back to transform here, right, and standard operations against the revenue. I say multiply everything in the revenue column by 1000. So this 356 becomes 356,000. So now I have my revenues in thousands. Once I made all these sort of changes, I can go back to home. So you can see this window is inside Power BI. This is the whole Power BI, but this is the Power Query Editor, where I was making these changes. I was changing, I could change column names. For example, I could change column name to customer space ID. Double click here and change the column name to product space ID, right? I could do all that. Then I can say close and apply, or just do an apply first. I just do an apply. What is it going to do is going to apply this to the data model. It's going to verify all the changes I've done. Yes, so the changes are good, they can be closed. So I can close and apply. So that's, now I go back to the standard screen in Power BI, where I have data here, I have tables here, I have the data model here, and I have reports here. If I want to do some more transformations, I want to open the Power Query editor again. I go to Queries, Transform Data, select Transform Data here where it says Power Query editor, and I see the query. The tables are appearing as queries here. Then I can go back and do whatever transformations I do. I close this and then I would save my file. So that's how you can do transformations using Power Query editor from Transform Data. Thank you.